How are you, everyone? All right, we want to look at the concept of solving quadratic equations. All right, during my last video, we looked at solving quadratic equation whereby the left-hand side is a perfect square as well as the right-hand side. So this time we want to consider quadratic equations of the following form: x squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0, right? Where a is equals to 1. So want to look at how to solve quadratic equation where the coefficient of x squared or the coefficient of a term that is squared is equals to 1. All right, so let us go straight into considering some examples. All right, so I want to solve the equation x squared, all right, minus 9x plus 20 equals to 0. All right, so we are now looking at our solution. Right, so for the equation x squared minus 9x plus 20 equals to 0, right, we are going to use factorization method to solve this equation. Right, so we start by multiplying the first term and the last term here, so we get positive 20 x squared. So now we have to look for two numbers such that if we multiply them, they give us positive 20, and if you add the same numbers, we get negative what? Negative 9. So here, remember, for us to get the product of two numbers is positive, is either these numbers should be both positive or both negative. But now, if you can look at the coefficient of x, the coefficient of the middle term here is negative. So in this case, we have to choose two negative numbers, such that after adding them, we get negative what? Negative 9. So in this case, since the coefficient of x squared is 1, we can use the short method here, whereby we put brackets and write x inside the first bracket and also x in the second bracket. So since we have agreed that the numbers are negative 5 and negative 4, we write negative 5 and negative what? Negative 4. All right, because if you multiply negative 5 and negative 4, we get positive 20, and if we add negative 5 and negative 4, we get negative 9. So from this stage, we proceed as follows: x minus 5 equals to 0, or x minus 4 equals to 0. All right, solving these two equations gives us x is equals to 0 plus 5, or x is equals to 0 plus 4, which simplifies to x is equals to 5, or x is equals to 4. So basically, that's how we solve the quadratic equation, whereby the coefficient of x squared or the coefficient of a term which is squared is equivalent to 1. Remember, we only use this short method if and only if the coefficient of x squared is what? The coefficient of x squared is 1. All right, let's try to consider another example here. We want to solve the equation, all right, x squared, all right, minus 3x minus 10 is equals to what? 0. Using the same methods, multiply the first term and the last term. In this case, we are getting negative 10 x squared. All right, so we are also going to use the short method in this case, since the coefficient of x squared is what? Is 1. All right, so we are going to look for two numbers such that if we multiply them, they give us negative 10, and if we add the same numbers, we get negative 3. All right, so here, for the product of two numbers to be negative, we expect one of the numbers to be negative, and obviously the other one should be positive. And again, for the sum of these two numbers to be negative, the bigger number should be what? Should be negative. So in this case, we consider negative 5 and positive 2. So we write x minus 5, x plus 2. Right, then we equate the factors to 0. X minus 5 equals to 0, or right, x plus 2 equals to 0. Solving these two equations, we have x is equals to 0 plus 5, or x is equals to 0 minus 2. So we get x is equals to 5, or x is equals to negative 2. So basically, that's how we solve quadratic equation where the coefficient of x squared, or the coefficient of the first term, which is squared, is 1. We can use the short method here. But please take note of, if the coefficient of x squared is not 1, if the coefficient of x squared is not 1, we have to use the expansion method. So during our next video, we are going to look at solving quadratic equations where the coefficient of x squared is not 1.